Thank you for tuning into the stream today for Ferris Esports. We got Ferris Gold Team League of Legends playing against the Lakeland University Muskies today. We're just getting the pro draft set up right now. My name's Agent 007 or Questionable. You can call me Jalen.
My name is Rewa/Decoy. You can call me Cody.
All right.
So it's going to be an interesting game today. Got some rank disparity, but it should be a pretty good, fun, close match.
All right, the peaks and valleys. Lakeland has the highest and the lowest rated players in this game, and Ferris is just, sitting in between there pretty comfortably. So it's going to be a pretty interesting game to see how this turns out, see if the high and low players can carry, or see if, the average rank of the team can just knock down the high and low people and see if they could just win like that. Hoping for a repeat of last week, but, you never know. We see what happens.
Now I got a question for you, Jalen. What do you want to see out of the Ferris team today?
Oh, that's a good question. If Moist Orgo Shrooms were playing jungle again, I would like a repeat of what he did. He was extremely interesting to watch. If he's not playing jungle, well, I think he is playing. I would also like to see Jones because he didn't play last week, if I remember correctly.
No, he played.
He did?
He played ADC last week,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, then
Him and Mako in the bot lane were a force to be reckoned with last week.
They were. They did really solidly, even in the lane that they shouldn't have done all too well. And so,
Jones really took control of the game. I want to see if he can do that again, but I also want to see them play through mid a little bit. I know Dolphin Dade, he's got a good champ pool for the current meta.
Right. See a little bit more agency out of him, see a little more proactivity. I know he tries to do a little bit of roaming. Maybe if he tries to get out of the lane more and help impact the other lanes, maybe you could get some more kills or assists, get some extra gold in the team's pockets like that.
Yeah, do you think Ferris is going to go for a similar comp to they did last week, with that Corki playing through the scaling, basically with Corki Caitlyn?
I wouldn't knock it out the park. It's just the mindset of if it isn't broke, don't fix it, and see if it's looks like we got the pro draft going, and we're in the ban phase now. Let's see. We got the Kha'Zix ban, as expected. The Ferris' jungler, Kha'Zix Lee Sin 2 trick. See if they ban both of those out. Ferris bans out the Lux, and we get the Victor ban.
Victor ban away from Dade. It's going to be he said he wanted to play Victor today, so I'm kind of sad for him that he can't get the chance to play it in the first game.
He was really looking forward to it, and they're just not letting it go through. Ferris bans out the Caitlyn, really focusing a lot on the bot side bans, and LU responds with the Viego ban on their half. See who Ferris decides to ban now before we get to actual picks.
What do you think LU is going to first pick right now?
If I were them, we talked about the rank disparity in the highest rated players. If you wanted to play a strong side, both their higher rated players are in the bot lane. You could try to look to get a priority pick in, say, the ADC slot, but then that does open up the counter picks. But, you do also want to be able to have counter pick in the top lane or in the mid lane because those lanes are a lot more volatile than the bot lane, seeing as people just tend to go to bot lane anyway. You want to be solid in your own lane.
I wonder if we're going to see a Zeri pick at all. I don't know if Jonesy plays it. I don't know if the LU player plays it. Looks like they're going to go for a Jinx. That's a strong agency in the bot lane. I think they'll probably pair it with like a Thresh, keep some control down there.
If you're Ferris, you probably want to, you get a long-range ADC to hopefully, that way you could just hopefully try to outrange the Jinx, and you probably want to get a support that doesn't, synergizes really well with Jinx. That way she doesn't get it. Something like the Thresh, the Braum, the Lulu. That way she isn't just taking over bot lane and she just becomes unstoppable by 10 minutes.
Oh, looks like we're going to see the Lee Sin.
The Lee Sin. They left it open. We're going to see if they find out the hard way, if they know some secret tech to cancel it out that last week's team didn't know.
Ogre had a very strong performance on Lee Sin last week, really taking over the map. We want to see if he can do it again today.
Right. I think he was 10-3 on the Lee Sin on game one. So
very strong showing from him. I am curious what they're going to pair with the Jim, and I want to see them take the Thresh, honestly.
I would be interested. I'm not sure if Mako plays the Thresh, but if she does, it would be amazing to see it. So LU decides to pick up the Hecarim, really strong jungler right now, and also really dangerous. Does pretty decently well into Lee Sin, so long as you can make it out alive past the 10-minute mark. We do know that Moist Orgo Shrooms is a really aggressive jungler, though. So
I expect to see him in Hecarim's jungle for a majority of the game.
The Leona, lots of damage, lots of taking this. If you played against Leona, you know what she does. It's not all that fun on the receiving end.
Good, decent pairing for Jinx. I feel like it doesn't keep Jinx alive as much as the Thresh does, but it definitely can engage if Hecarim comes bot.
Right. We see the Morgana, lots of safety. You really want the Black Shield against a hard CC support like Leona, like the Nautilus. So you really want to see that. They ban out the Seraphine. Okay, I guess Ferris expects that the mid laner does play the Seraphine. They don't want something like that, which does pair really well with the Jinx. That does keep her alive.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested what LU is going to ban here. We still got a top and a mid lane pick for Ferris.
Right.
I wonder if Dade is going to go into the Corki again.
If Mans is telling him what to do, wouldn't be surprised if he tries to stick him on it again.
And it's a Corki ban.
Oh, Corki does not make it out of the round 2 picks. Looks like we're going to be seeing Dade on a new pick, and they decided to ban out the Cho'Gath. Is that what we're going with?
Not sure they are.
All right, they do not want, Hecarim, Leona, Cho'Gath with a Jhin. He has no real way of killing, realistically, even one of them, much less all 3 of them. You do want to get all that tankiness out of there.
Mm-hmm. And a Gwen ban.
LU decides to ban Gwen. Okay.
I know Mans has been playing a lot of Gwen recently, so.
If anyone on the team plays it, you kind of want to just get it out of there. That's just another 200-year champion you do not want to play against, period.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I wonder if Mans is going to take the Alawi.
They did leave it up. Dade got the LeBlanc. I was messaging him. He really wanted to play the LeBlanc. That was his number 1 pick. He was telling me about that, and then the Victor was number 2. So looks like Dade got the pick he wanted. We're gonna see if he gets to carry and see if Mans allows him to play it in game 2 or potentially game 3 if we get there.
Yeah, but I am nervous about the blind picking LeBlanc. I'm wondering if LU will pick a Twisted Fate here.
Right. LeBlanc is a really strong pick, but she is also, if she does get countered, there's not a whole lot she can do. They decide to pick Vex. Really solid pick. LeBlanc with all of her million dashes. Vex is a solid option into it.
That is a tough lane for LeBlanc, but I have a feeling Dolphin Dade is he's gonna make it out pretty just fine.
Right. The problem is though that they also have an immobile bot lane. Vex gets on there. She starts fearing people away.
I said he'd be okay in laning phase. After that, right. nothing's safe after that. And we see a set pick from LU in the top lane.
Ooh, another really solid Juggernaut in the top lane for them. See how Ferris responds they get the counter pick. Alawi is still open. She does do pretty decently into set, And are we gonna see the pick?
See it?
He locks it in. We get to see the Alawi. Lots of comfort picks for Ferris' side. We get Jones on the Jhin, Moist Orgashrooms on the Lee Sin, Mans on the Alawi. Just comfort picks all around. So they know, they all get the champions. They know how to play. They love to play. So I expect good things from them. See how Lakeland University is able to respond to this.
Mm-hmm. Now, going in, what do you think of the overall comp from Lakeland and Ferris here?
I would say that Lakeland has a really solid comp. They have really good team fight potential, and they have, aside from Alawi, there isn't really anyone on Ferris who can kill the front line. Lee Sin can push them away. Morgana can keep people alive. LeBlanc can run away. But Jhin can't really do a whole lot to save the Hecarim and the set. And, Jinx has long range herself too, so,
I'm interested to see. I think LU really needs to focus on those team fights with their comp. I think Ferris really needs to get picks, playing off that Lee Sin kick, the Morgana Q, all that setup that they have to get picks. I think if they get vision control, they can really take the game, but they need to focus on their vision control.
Right. Ferris really wants to take over this game early because if they start falling behind, the Lee Sin's going to start falling off. The Hecarim and Set are going to get too tanky for Jhin to do damage with. LeBlanc could only at best be able to kill the Jinx, and then she's just a ward at that point. Mm-hmm. So, Ferris is really on a time limit this game.
Mm-hmm. Definitely need to see some early pressure. See if Dolphin can get the mid push into the Vex and then help his Lee Sin out. I think definitely will enable them to snowball this game.
Right. You also see a lot of AoE CC on Lakeland's side, with the set pull, the Vex Sphere,
Hecarim ult,
just a lot of AoE CC. So, if they get that right setup going, it could be devastating for Ferris.
Although that does beg the thing that Morgana is pretty good into that overall.
That is true. If one person on Ferris is able to carry the game, she can make sure that one person does. And Morgana can also CC all 5 people of the enemy team herself, too, should the opportunity arise for that.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I'm interested to see Lee Sin's pathing this game. I want to see if he'll go for an early invade.
All right. If you have the LeBlanc, LeBlanc is amazing at roaming, and then Alawi, if she gets there at the right time, her tentacles start spawning, she is an amazing invade partner too. I would say they're probably better invade partners than Set and Vex. So, if we see a 2v2 or a 3v3, I would expect Ferris to come out, especially early on with how strong Lee Sin is.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to see Lee Sin take the fight to Hecarim as much as he can, because if Hecarim can't get to 6 fast, his snowball potential is a lot lower. He has to burn his ghost early for a gank with his E. I'm assuming he's going to go mid or top early.
Right. You do have the Leona for the lockdown, but when you're facing off against Morgana, she could just say, no, I don't feel like getting CC'd. I just want to leave. Not the whole lot you can do. Just a really hard counter, and Jinx doesn't really pack a whole lot of damage in the early game like someone like Samira or Caitlyn or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely favor the Jhin Morgana lane in the early stages of the game. That's why I think Hecarim will stay away from there, because if he goes in and Morgana binds him up, he dies.
Right.
And then he's put behind. So I don't think he'll prioritize that lane as much as the other two.
I can also imagine he probably wouldn't want to go mid a lot. Vex pre-6 doesn't have any mobility against LeBlanc, who has a lot of mobility pre-6. But the top lane, Alawi ganking pre-6 is the prime time to do it, because once she does get 6, I mean, she really wants to 2v1 at that point, so long as she's not 50 HP.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think Set has the upper hand in the early stages of the game, though, in that matchup.
Right.
As long as he doesn't get hit by the E, he's got some pretty strong trading stats with his W, and he can tank a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. That is a good sign for Set. As we wait in for the spectator delay, we're just...
Mm-hmm. I do wonder, how is Ferris going to play a team fight if it plays out?
If they do, number one, you'd probably want Day to go in and kill the Jinx as fast as possible, hopefully without Vex just CCing her, since she is going to be dashing in. You want to get maybe the Lee Sin to kick the Hecarim away from the Jhin who the Hecarim is inevitably going to be going after, and at all costs you want to make sure you don't get hit by, say, a 3 or more person Leona ult, because at that point the fight's pretty much just over.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think if the Hecarim does go the tank build that I've been seeing recently with the Turbo Chem tank into the Mana Mune, I think if he goes that build, I think there's a chance that Ferris, if they can play around their Jhin and play around his range, I think that they can definitely come ahead in fights, but I think they really need to focus on getting him ahead.
Right.
Because the rest of the team doesn't have as much team fight potential as he does to keep them in a fight.
Right.
I definitely agree that LeBlanc should go in, try and kill the Jinx,
right,
so he doesn't get locked up. I'm not sure how Alawi's going to play into the team fights, or if he's going to stay split pushing.
I would imagine Alawi just wants to split push and draw pressure, and then maybe get a TP flank once the Unleashed TP comes out, because Alawi, no mobility spells, just kind of has to walk up. Or, unless she goes Ghost, in that case, she probably just loses a lot of lane pressure and can't split as well as the Set will.
It also denies her Flash R combo in team fights, the one thing she can do in a team fight.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. I'm definitely curious. I think the lane to watch, honestly, is probably the bot lane. I feel like bot lane is really what swings this game, how the lane plays out. I feel like mid lane's kind of just going to be farming early, Beck's trying to get to 6, LeBlanc trying to get to 6, so that way she can have her full combo. Top lane will probably see a bit of smacking around, but I don't think they're going to really, fight to the death up there.
Right, Yeah, you got Alawi mostly just trying to land her E on the Set and just deal damage like that, and then Set, he has his W shield. That just mitigates a lot of the damage he will be receiving, and if he lands it on Alawi, that is some pretty solid damage. Not a ton in the early game, but all damage counts, especially when Alawi doesn't have all that much noteworthy healing in her kit.
Her passive does heal her a decent amount when it goes into it, but I mean, if she doesn't have the proper tentacle set up, it's really hard for her to sustain when two people are Set's pulling her and ulting her around.
Right. When you're Alawi and you really want to stay in the center of your tentacles, but if you have someone like Set who can just force you out of there with his ult, it's not all that good. You're not going to have a fun time. All right, and we're loaded into this game.
Any interesting item starts you're seeing here? I'm seeing pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, you see Jinx get the longsword and Jhin start the boots. That's about it. But, those are pretty standard. Nothing too out of picture. Looks like we're probably not going to be seeing any invades, just a standard 5-point from both teams.
Definitely. I think that Ferris does have an okay invade, but they don't have too much follow-up for the LeBlanc or for the Morgana to really, stomp it. Looks like we're going to see some movement from Ogre Shrooms here.
All right, they see the ward, they're just going to fall back. They probably just wanted to do a 2-man, get a ward down on his blue, but seeing the ward there, they don't know how many people are in that bush over there. They just say, hey, we don't really care. We just wanted to know where he was going to be starting at. Seeing how there's a ward there, they could probably make a good guess that Hecarim was going to be starting bot side, and they just put that ward down for safety. Wouldn't be surprised if Set put another ward down at his blue just to make sure Lee doesn't take the long way to his blue buff, and it gets stolen like that.
Most definitely. Looks like it's going to be a bot side start for both junglers here.
As expected, this is really common to see from both junglers. Okay,
so
never mind.
Hecarim's going to start Raptors.
Leashless start from Hecarim. Okay, so Ferris actually will not know. They can make a solid guess. Hecarim's Q is amazing at getting Raptors, but
if he doesn't go bot side early and get his red buff and his Gromp, that could mess up Ogre's idea of where he's going to path for the rest of the game.
Right.
Looks like Set's going to ward the blue buff for him so that way he can't get invaded on. Just see a standard leash start here from Ferris.
As expected, we see that Lakeland, is Lakeland going for a cheese? Yeah, it looks like they're not getting a push. We could see something on the Jhin.
Oh, are they going to go for it?
Oh.
They're walking out?
Jhin gets caught out. He's going to have to blow his flash, or is he not? He's not.
He'll live.
We see the Ignite coming out from Morgana, and Jhin saves both his summoners. That's the benefit of starting boost, though. You do get the 4 pots. One of the only ways you can actually outnumber the amount of pots you get with Longsword.
Now, I am nervous with him stepping up here. Leona might just flash on him.
Right,
Yep, there it is.
There goes the flash from Leona, and he blows both of Jin's summoner spells. Now Jhin is in a really risky spot. If you look, you see that the Leona does have Hex Flash, so she can just effectively do it again. There's really nothing stopping her. And now that Jhin doesn't have the flash or the heal, he's in a really dangerous spot. Oh, Leona hits 2 and goes in. Jinx flashes and follows up the aftershock kills.
First blood over to Leona. Not who you really wanted the first blood on, but, the first blood is always a good gold swing, and now she can get her boots and get out on the map.
Right. If you're Leona, you really want to help your Jinx shove this under tower, make sure Jhin misses as much CS as possible, but you also really want the cannon. Can't blame her. The amazing root his, but it's not going to do a whole lot. All you have is Spell Thieves, and you can't even proc the gold from it since no one's in your lane with you right now. So Jhin is going to miss a lot of CS. He doesn't have the level 2 for the W, can't get the cannon either. You really don't like to see it.
Man, if he had level 2 here, he could have followed up on that Leona. But
that would have been amazing. But
unfortunate. I feel like LU's bot lane should have backed out once they got the wave shoved under, get a nice reset. But
right. You would really want to see that, especially if you see.
We got to fight up here in the top lane. Ogre Shroom's ganking the set. It looks like Hecarim's here to fight.
Alawi gets to eat. Are they going to fall back? Okay, they say they don't want this fight.
Oh, they're still going for it.
They do want the fight.
Still going for it.
No ignites from the top lane or the jungler. He blows out the Set's flash. All right. And Hecarim's flash. Okay. That is massively worth for only blowing Lee Sin's flash. I would call that a win on Ferris' side in the top lane.
Looks like we're going to have a fight towards the Scuttle Crab here. Mans has not rotated down to help his jungler. He's going in.
He misses the Q. That's not what you want to see. He has to smite the crab, but it does not help him. If anything, it helps the Hecarim. Just removes the shield.
We got a rough start here for Ferris.
Ooh. A bit of a misplay, but it happens.
First plate down already to the Jinx. That's really unfortunate. 4 minutes. She's snowballing a lot of gold here. She's up 20 CS. Yeah,
Jhin only having 7 CS at 4 minutes. He's going to be playing catch-up for the next at least 5-10 minutes. If this is solo queue, you're just spam pinging your jungler for help, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Which I feel like with the way that the Jinx and Leona have been playing, you could get a good gank off here. They've been shoving under tower constantly.
Right. If you notice that Leona has a red trinket and the Jinx currently doesn't have any wards up, the entire bottom half of the map is currently dark. They wouldn't know if Lee Sin was there, but it looks like they are going to recall right now. If you're bot lane, at this point you see you don't see the laners for about 10 seconds. You just want to start hard shoving it and assuming they back, especially after getting first blood.
And it does look like Hecarim is going to go the tank mirror mana build.
Ooh, get the tier start. Leona with the first blood goal gets boots, tier 2 mobility boots pre 5 minutes,
and she's going top lane.
And but there's very little vision on Ferris' side, but I think enough to see the Leona early on.
She's being pinged out.
Mans falls back, says it's not worth it. You see an early mobility start from the support. That means that they plan on roaming and not being in lane a lot. But if you do get the advantage early in bot lane, it's probably most advantageous for you to just stay there and keep the ADC down.
Oh, it looks like she's still going.
She's still there. Mans didn't fall back far enough.
And he's forced to flash, but they burn the Ignite off the Leona. Set's still going forward.
Mans, does he make it out alive? Jin is by himself. The Morgana is helping with Dragon, and Hecarim gets another kill. Alawi gets out alive, though, and does take the Leona Ignite with her in trade for Mans' own flash.
It looks like Ferris recovered by taking a Dragon here. I don't know if that's very good because your Jin just gets put further behind, but I mean, it is a win condition if they can stack those Dragons.
Right, at this point, if you're Jin, you probably just want to start building defensively, just get tier 2 like armor boots. And, if you're really if you're terrified, you could get like Imperial Mandate. Not a Mandate, the shield bow. Lee Sin's caught out trying to invade, but LeBlanc will be able to follow up before the Vex will. But not a lot of damage on Ferris' side, and the Leona is here. Gonna catch him out. LeBlanc has to blow flash, and Vex hit the ult.
And she's ignited, so they know which one's the real one. Oh, Leona flashes.
Leona gets another kill. Leona 2-0. Do we see a Leona carry this game?
She should start building crit, don't you think?
At this point, hey, either crit or just full AP. Neither one would be a bad choice.
And Jones is just getting pelted under the tower there.
Right, not a whole lot he can do when the Jinx has a Noon Quiver. All he has is a long sword and dagger.
4K gold lead for LU right now. It's going to be tough for Ferris to come back into this one.
That's true. Leona just applying a ton of pressure in all 3 lanes right now. Just getting everybody ahead. That's really what you want to see out of your support. Just taking over the game themselves.
And Jinx is really respecting once her Leona's out of lane. She's playing it really safe and guarded, so she can't give up a shutdown or anything like that over.
Right, she's outnumbered right now. Morgana lands a single root. May or may not die since Jin early, only a long sword, not a ton of damage. But, you still just want to stay as healthy as possible, knowing that your Leona will eventually be back in lane.
Good zoning here from Leona. Need Morgana. Hex Splash over.
We see the Jin gets caught out. The ultimate hits. Wow, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Jin gets out alive with this flash. He still has heal up.
He's super low right now. He's got to be very careful. Right. Oh, looks like a gank top lane from the Hecarim.
Alawi is 6. Set pushes her out. And
it looks like he's going to make it out alive. And almost
Hecarim is almost going to die. He almost gets a 1-for-0 there. Really good. Really well played by the Alawi. Lee Sin is spotted out again by the...
Ooh, Dolphin going for a kill.
Dolphin is going in. Hecarim has no R, has no flash. It's only a matter of time. Oh, LeBlanc falls back, sees the Vex is going to be following up with her, decides it's not really worth the risk.
Oh, he gets hit by the fear here.
Oh, no.
He goes back in, he misses his Q.
The Vex knows which one's the real one. She just being her down at this point, hits the ult and goes in and kills. The Jin dies at the same time. Morgana hits the Q, though, and gets a trade kill on the shutdown for the Leona. If you are Lakeland at this point, you are really happy to see that the one shutdown that they do get is on the Morgana.
Looks interesting in play here from Moist. Oh, good kick into a Q.
Blows the flash and the heal and still gets the kill.
Very well played from Ogre there. Really nice ward hop kick into a Q.
Amazing.
So what can Ferris do to recover from this position? I mean, they're losing Herald on the top side right now. They got that early Dragon. Mid's pushing in right now. Like, what can they do to force their way back into this game?
At this point, I was going to say just play around objectives, but they're not going to be able to get this Herald, obviously, since Lee Sin's bot lane and Herald is already being beat down. So if I were Ferris, I'd probably say, just play for Soul win con. Hopefully it'd be something like, say, an Infernal Soul for the Alawi and the Jin.
Definitely. I mean, Ocean Soul is arguably not as great as it was, but I think it's still a very good thing when you have an Alawi and a Lee Sin to, kind of tank that pressure.
Right. Ferris doesn't have an amazing front line right now, but any front line is better than none. Any way to just stay in the fight longer, especially now that Chemtech is being removed.
Chemtech's been removed. Yeah. So that's a good thing. We saw the Leona attempt to gank here on the LeBlanc. LeBlanc's a bit too mobile for that to really work out for her in the long run, but she's going to move her way back to bot side. Morgana is trying to get that early aggressive vision, trying to clear this ward. Will she get punished for clearing this ward? 3 people collapsing on her. She misses the binding.
Oh,
and
no.
Leona got on top.
Morgana is extremely caught off. Flash is up. She blows the flash. Leona, though, blind ult hits. Hecarim flashes over the wall. He had ultimate. I'm not sure why he didn't use that.
He ulted over the wall.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The scoreboard showed otherwise. Okay.
Oh, he might have flashed. Maybe he did.
He did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he flash ulted. Oh, and he's going onto the Jin now.
He still has it. Is this why he held the flash? Does he solo kill the Jin here?
Maybe.
Perhaps. He has the damage. He does.
Oh, but Jin gets the root under tower.
Does he get the kill? He does not. Hecarim just a tad bit too tanky, and Vex kills the Lee Sin while he was trying to invade on top side.
And they dropped that Herald on bot side, so Jinx is going to get a lot of gold funneled into her right now. She's going to end up probably getting this tower. Right. There's only so much Morgana can do to stop that Herald without getting behind it.
I wouldn't expect them to get another tower off of this, but still getting two towers gone in the bot lane.
And they're going to transition that into a dragon. That's going to be a lot of power for LU.
Right. You already see that they're up 7K gold. Like.
It's very tough for Ferris to make a play back into this game, but I mean it's still possible. Bounties will come in at 15 minutes. That'll give them a chance to push their way back in for gold. See if Mans' split push can really pull some gold back into the team's pockets.
Right. And we do see the Ocean Soul that you were bringing up earlier. So this is one win con for Ferris that they should try to look to play around. But when they're 7K gold behind, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to fight for these major objectives. So if Lakeland says, hey, I want this dragon, Ferris might just have to say, okay, you can have it. We'll try to figure something out later for the next one,
Another play Ferris could go for is maybe look for a pick before the dragon fight, try and take somebody out. They got a lot of one-person CC that they could lock down somebody, take him out before the fight happens.
Right, optimally you would want that on the Hecarim, seeing as he does have the smite, but, you have the Jinx rocket and Vex can just fly in at any time, Lakeland does always have ways to steal the objective.
Most definitely. I just want to see Ferris, be a bit proactive here, not just, fall behind and keep falling behind. I want to see them push for something.
Right. You're already behind. You don't have a ton to lose, so just, make – I don't want to say desperate plays, but, do what you have to do to even try to bring this game back.
Oh, and a three-person topside dive. It looks like Leona misses the E. Man splashes, but he gets hit by the ult.
All the CC that Leona has in her kit, not all too important. Missing one of them, just hey, you have two more for backup. One of them is just point and click.
She didn't even have to burn the flash. However, Set did burn the flash, so that might be something they can punish later on.
Right, I wouldn't be surprised if they attempt to do that. We do see the gank top from the Lee Sin. Morgana hits the roof. Set is under tower, but the W shield might save him. It does not.
And a good out from Ogre. A very good W.
And he's gone. Does Jin get out of life? Vex blows the flash, and he's down again. Jin is just not being able to play this game, This is exactly what happened to Thompson last week. The Super Mega Death Rocket does not hit the Lee Sin clutch dodge from him.
Very good. Yeah. That was a very good safeguard from Ogre to get out of that situation after they secured the kill on the Set, though. Definitely was turning, a good kill to get, keep some pressure off their top side.
Right, and we see that the Jinx is just being left alone mid lane with over a full wave. She just gets this tower because, amazing at getting towers early on. And if she caught out, she has Vex by her side. The Vex does not have R, though. Looks like they're just going to walk away. Leona is at the flank, but they don't want to fight just yet. Dragon's not going to be up for about another 2 minutes or so.
They just need to get on the map. They need to get their Jin some farm right now. He's struggling because he's been put so far behind by the jungler.
Right. He had to blow sums early, and then he got killed right after that. And, after that, he's just been getting ganked nonstop. You really just want some items on this Jin. Get him at 3 items or so. And then at that point, he can start doing damage, especially to objectives like the towers and the dragons and stuff.
Definitely. I think they're just trying to get to that 15-minute point, start getting the objective bounties, That's where I think they need to chill out for a minute, wait for that next dragon, farm up for a bit, and then push for those objectives, I feel like.
Right. If I'm Ferris, I probably wouldn't be surprised if we were to see, say, the Alawi swap out her yellow trinket for a red trinket. That way you have 3 sweepers on the map, and you can eliminate as much vision from Lakeland's side as possible, because we do see that they are very good at placing deep vision in Ferris's jungle right now.
Most definitely. I think Ferris, it's hard for Ferris right now. They need to get some defensive pink wards out. I don't really see a lot of pink wards on the map for Ferris.
Right. You see the one top lane. Oh, never mind. Vex goes in. She bursts down the LeBlanc. And now the Vex is 5-0 with a 500 gold shutdown. You see Hecarim is 4-0 with 450 gold shutdown. Those are 2 major bounties you want on your side. But you have to ask the question, like, how do we get those objectives exactly?
Most definitely. Jinx is tempting to take the red buff away from Ogre right now.
Right.
Looks like they're clearing some of the vision out, which is good on Mako. I only see 1 pink from Ferris' side. I know 1 just got cleared, but I would still want to see more defensive vision from them if they're just going to let them move through their jungle like this.
Right, especially when you see that Ferris has 4 pinks in the inventory, and, for comparison, Lakeland only has 1 pink in their inventory. So this is a lot of vision control they should be having right now, but you're really just not seeing it.
Most definitely. It looks like Lakeland's going to take the Herald Are we going to see a steal?
He steals it. He can't get the Herald, but hey, you know, so long as they don't get it, the team does still get the 500 gold on Ferris' side, and that's gold out of the pockets of Lakeland that they can't abuse on their side.
And it looks like that Lakeland's going to transition over to the Dragon, which, I mean, is the sacrifice, but I feel like the second Dragon, when it's not a win con for them, is okay to give up if you're going to stop them from getting some pressure with the Herald, because the Herald could bust open their base off one team fight. And we're seeing a fight from Mans down in the bot lane against Set. Set's going back for more.
He walks back in, and Leona's flanking. She's all the way in the center, but Mans only has 3 tentacles.
Oh, so close.
Not enough. Dragon just spawned in, and Lee Sin is coming out of base right now. Oh, Vex is going to go in 1v2 and is not scared. There's not a whole lot Ferris can do to even stop this. Does Vex just take it? Or does
no. Oh, she
does. I mean, you know, options at the point are just get beat up by the Lee Sin.
She's dead, though. That's a shutdown for Lee Sin.
The Lee Sin does get the shutdown. You know, you might prefer to see that on the Jhin since Lee Sin isn't going to be getting a whole lot stronger at this point. Oh, okay, never mind. Leona does not land the ultimate. She flash Qs, but LeBlanc is out of there. So is the Lee Sin. You know, 2 hypermobile carries on Ferris' side. They can just get in and out of there really easy.
Most definitely. The Dragon did go over to Lakeland. They're going to transition over to probably getting some Baron side vision with Baron coming up in 3 minutes.
Right, you know, you're up, you know, almost 10K gold on Lakeland side. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 20-minute Baron attempt on their half.
Most definitely, I could see that happening. Mako's trying to get some vision control down in the bot side. Hekrum's going to be clearing his bot camps. You know, we're kind of just defaulting to farming right now.
Right, you know, if I'm Mako in this scenario, I mean, Dragon just fell. You know that there are no camps on your bot side. There's really no point in even checking to see if there is vision down there because, like, I mean, you could put some wards down for the allow if you want, but, like, you don't really care if they have wards down there. You're probably not going to be down there for the next 5 minutes or so.
Most of them will expire by the time Dragon comes up anyway, so you're not too worried about that vision control. We got a nice, okay ward here in the mid rivers. They know Vex is moving topside right now, which means that they can't really approach their topside jungle because they don't have enough wards in that area.
Right. You know, they just saw the Vex and Leona go into their jungle. This is what I was bringing up earlier where I'm saying, you know, you might want to get a third sweeping lens on Ferris' side. You can't really have it on the Lee Sin because he desperately needs his wards for his ward hops. But, you know, you do really need to clean out the vision that you know that they inevitably place in your jungle. And how many 5 pink wards on their half? I mean, you don't want to just keep mindlessly moving them around.
We see an attempted go in, and it looks like Dolphin is going to get bursted by the Vex.
Vex is just too strong. She's 8-1. I can't tell. Is that? No, it's not 2 completed items, but, you know, 1.5 finished items.
Right. Alawi's going in here under the fight, and she gets deleted.
Seed can't do a lot, but we do see the Jhin ult. Will we see a kill on his part?
Flash from Jinx over to chase Ogre. Ogre's going to go down to a crit rocket. It looks like Mako's going to go.
Jinx once more, blows the flash. The W does not land. Morgana does get out of there alive.
They're going to siege this mid tier 2. They're probably going to get it. Oh, Jin's going to get Hex flashed on. Followed up by Jinx. Good flash from Jhin.
Blows the Jhin flash. That's really all you need. Hecarim goes in. There's nothing to stop him. Gets the double kill.
And that's going to be tier 2 tower for Lakeland. We'll see if they keep pushing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they got inhib off of this push. There's nothing really, you know, Ferris can do to stop this. All you have is LeBlanc alive, and she's 0-4. I mean, she might not even be strong enough to kill the Jinx. They are the same level after all.
Definitely.
Right.
We got a 12K gold lead.
Herald. 12K gold lead before 20 minutes. Baron hasn't even spawned yet. This is an extremely dangerous spot for Ferris.
Most definitely. I want to see a blue ward on Jhin to try and get some vision to where he can get bursted from, you know?
Right. I thought he had one earlier. Yeah, I guess I was wrong on that part.
And Hecarim did default to that Mirror Mana build, which seems to be doing a lot of damage for the tanky stats.
Right. You know, he can just run in and just start one-shotting pretty much everyone. Morgana is going to be sweeping out the top side vision.
Will she get engaged on here by Leona? Leona's all by herself, but we know she can solo.
Right. You know, if you're Leona, you do see that the shield is gone on the Scuttle Crab and a lot of damage is taken off of it. So you say, hey, you know, there's probably somebody down here because I know our Lee Sin wasn't the one who was doing that. So just fall back. I'm kind of surprised that she didn't put a ward on a Baron at least. Lee Sin has to use his one and only ward there. He's not going to have one for about 45 seconds or so.
He will at least have some pinks to ward hop. It looks like Heckram's going to engage here on Lee Sin with the help of Leona. Good ward hop out, but that cost him one of his pink wards.
He does. He only has one left now, so he's either relying on his last pink ward to be able to save him through the next fight.
We got an ult from Vex here. He's going to one-shot. Oh, but Ogre gets out and gets another Q. He goes in. He kicks.
He lands the insect. Do they get the shutdown? Vex gets out alive, and they take the Lee Sin instead.
I like the aggressive play, though. That was a really clean kick.
Right, you know, he did a really good insect there and simultaneously dodged the Leona R. Not sure if you saw that.
We got a fight going on in the bot side. Mans is going to take a lot of damage, but he gets the slow off. He's going to keep chasing. There's a chance for a kill here from Mans.
Even 0-3, he's still just hard bullying the set. There's nothing you can do without the Heckram. He decides to just run away, and Lakeland kind of doesn't care. They just say, hey, you know, you can have our set if you even can get him. We'll just take this Baron instead. Can Jin steal the Baron? Oh, Leona blocks it. LeBlanc tries to go in and take it. She does not. Oh, Set decides he actually does want to fight. He ults in, but there's a ton of tentacles. Mans does not get to use his W to start proccing them, and Set gets the kill instead.
Set's passive healing out of that fight let him regen back up to re-engage onto Mans since he didn't use his ult in the last exchange.
Right, alongside the Gore Drinker, you know, just so much healing and shielding on Set's part. You know, if you aren't able to get the kill with the Alawi ultimate, I mean, you know, Set can just kind of go in and do what he wants, especially when he's ahead and you're not.
And looks like Ogre's going to be down here in the bot side. He's going to get engaged on by the Heckram.
Attempted a bait. He was not successful in it. Vex lands another R, and that's a dead Lee Sin.
And that's going to be the third dragon over to Lakeland. It's looking kind of rough for Ferris right now. I don't know what their win con back into the game is. It's a 14k gold lead right now for Lakeland University. Lakeland has the Baron buff, so I expect them to push in through the mid lane here.
Right, you know, we do see that the mid inhib is able to be taken right now. There are no towers in that. After you get the mid inhib, probably just go bot lane. Set has been pushing that in. And, you know, there really isn't anyone on the team who can stop you. I mean, Leona could probably start solo killing some of the people on Ferris by herself. You start throwing in the Jinx, who's fed, the Vex, who's extremely fed.
The Heckram's even very strong, even though he's going a tank build.
Right.
And we're going to see that transition. It looks like Jinx just
gets
wants
her
blood.
Passive off, you know. She just goes in. Yep. Like I said, they're just going to start breaking the bot inhib, too.
Oh, a big ult from Leona. Engage onto
on the Lee Sin. Heckram goes in 1v5 and starts getting kills by himself. He doesn't need the ADC.
Ogre kicks Set into the fountain, though.
Hey, a consolidation prize at this point.
Oh, definitely. Oh, and he's going back in.
He lands the Q. Oh, he gets out. He does not. The crit plus the Kraken auto attack from the Jinx just does so much damage. Ferris just got wiped, and that's going to be the end of game one. Lakeland University takes it.
Very decisive victory from Lakeland.
Right, you know, they played they knew what their win conditions were. They played it they played it really well in the early game. They didn't let the Lee Sin get the lead that he wanted to get, and the LeBlanc. I mean, you know, I'm not sure if it is a counter pick, but Vex played it like it was a counter pick and just didn't let LeBlanc do what she wanted to do in the laning phase.
It is a very rough lane for LeBlanc to play out because every dash she uses is just proccing, giving Vex her passive back to fear her.
Right, I can imagine that. So, you know, if you're Ferris on this, you know, out on the receiving end of this, what do you think? Like, hey, where did we go wrong? What should we be fixing on this? And where do we need to improve on so that this we can actually come back and win game 2 and 3?
I feel like Ferris just, like, they didn't really pick for their individual, like, they picked sort of for their individual lanes, but I feel like maybe if they've given mid counter pick, so that way that mid lane could be opened up a bit more, which opened up their jungler a bit more. Because I feel like Ogre went for some good aggressive plays, but it just wasn't able to come together.
Right. You know, if you're Ferris, you might want to see a more coordinated team comp on their part. You know, they had, like, you know, vague ideas, and like the goals of each of the champions weren't exactly aligned with each other on the team. You know, we saw that Lakeland's team was very synergistic, say, hey, we want a team fight, we want to get these objectives, and we just want to steamroll them. Whereas Ferris was more along lines of, we want to get an advantage early, and if that doesn't happen, we don't really have a plan B.
It definitely was a lot of comfort picks, you know, for Ferris, which I understand. You know, they want to be comfortable in their champion pools, but I mean, when you're playing against a team that is building to come together in these huge team fight combos, you know, and they're executing it well, it's you kind of have to adapt to what they're playing as.
Right, you do want to be playing champions. You know how to play well, that you're comfortable on playing, and that you put a lot of hours on. But at the same time, you do want to have a team composition that does have a clear, well-defined goal. And if the goal does not fall back on, have at least 3 people with another goal in line that you can rely on for a plan B and have that as a win con also.
I definitely think also with the hyper carry bot lane meta, I think we need to see like more of a hyper carry bot lane.
Right.
We saw how much damage the Jinx was doing once the Jhin got put behind. The Jin's not really like a hyper carry.
Right. He's much more utility and catcher.
I mean, if he gets ahead, any ADC who gets ahead can really carry. I'm wondering if we're going to see Zeri in the second game. From after the stomp from Lakeland, I wonder if they'll pick it out.
Right. Zeri is really strong if she's able to get ahead and can take over games by herself, given enough resources.
Granted, if Ferris is able to get the Caitlyn is a very good matchup for that lane.
Right.
But they were banning it last time, so that's what I'm curious about because Jones is pretty good on the Caitlyn.
Yeah, they banned it round 1, didn't they? I think they did. So wouldn't be surprised if they just decided to not let that go through again.
Speaking of that, we have a change-up. Mans is going to the ADC position, and Jones will be taking over the top lane.
Okay. Does that mean we get to see some Draven ADC action?
Oh, most likely. But what is Jonesy going to play in the top lane?
That's a good question. Hey, if Mans is feeling really nice today, he could let him play, say, the Twitch top lane. Jones is a big fan of the AP Twitch. But more realistically, we're probably going to be seeing something really safe, really
like
tanky.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll probably see a Scion or an Ornn.
Right. Some really solid engage in front line because I think Ferris was really lacking that in the last game, so they couldn't team fight as optimally.
Definitely. Hecarim ult made it really hard for them to really push advantages in fights.
Right.
I want to see a more concise draft and maybe some different bans from Ferris here. Target that big team fight that Lakeland seems to focus on. Maybe we'll see a different look from Lakeland, but...
I would consider swapping out one of the bans for another jungle ban. That jungler was really problematic. The Leona was getting a lot of early pressure, but I think that's just more of a playstyle thing. You really can't ban out the Leona. If you ban out the Leona, nothing's stopping her from picking like an Alistar or a Nautilus who accomplishes effectively the same job.
Heck, even with the amount they were roaming, what if they picked a Bard?
Right,
Definitely. I mean, it's hard to counteract that roaming playstyle when the ADC does know how to play pretty safe. You know? Because their Jinx was very respectful of the 1v2 situations that the Leona was putting her in, and she was just giving up a bit of farm, giving up her lead to let the rest of her team succeed, which is understandable in that position when Leona got the first blood.
Right, just whatever helps you win the game, you're going to do that, and if that means you fall behind so that all 4 members of your team can just start steamrolling the enemy team, I mean, hey, you'll do it every game.
Oh, most definitely. That's the team play aspect coming into effect.
Right.
I'm interested in Lakeland, if Lakeland will do the same bans or if maybe they'll change it up. I don't feel like they feel pressured into changing their bans, but...
Right, after such a decisive victory, you don't really need to affect anything. We do see some role swapping on Ferris' side, so, you might not see, say, the Caitlyn ban again, and you might swap that out for something like, the Draven we were talking about earlier or something along those lines. But, hey, we'll see when we get there.
Most definitely. I feel like we're going to see probably a Draven ban from Mans. It's his most played ADC. He loves the Draven,
Big fan of that. Big fan of watching that as well. He is a pick that he is really aggressive on. We'll see if they do get the Draven, if Mako is willing to play aggressively and forward to match the Draven, because Draven is another one of those picks that we were saying like last game. He kind of really does need to get ahead early. Otherwise, I mean, he's just going to be kind of just flinging axes, and they're just going to be bouncing off the enemy team.
Most definitely.
Oh, okay, looks like we're starting. We're starting off with some pretty similar bans. They decided to do a Diana ban. I think they did that round 2 last time, didn't they? Or
Yep. Yeah. And we're going to see the same bans out of Lakeland. Early Viego Victor ban. Hecarim gets banned away by Ferris. They do not want to deal with that Hecarim again.
Right. Hecarim was just too strong. And as I was saying, they bring out the Draven ban. No need to ban the Caitlyn if the ADC doesn't play. Just ban out the Draven, make sure he doesn't become problematic, especially if you were thinking about picking the Jinx again, because Draven does do really well into her.
And a first pick Corki from Ferris State.
All right, they're putting Dade back on the Corky, say, hey, this works out. You can figure something out, I'm sure. And Corky does have amazing run potential once he picks off his packages and such.
Corky is also very strong in the current meta with his new poke build.
Right, those rockets can do over half of your HP and damage. And the Vex comes out again, not as well as it did into the LeBlanc, but, hey, the Vex pick was really solid. It could just do what it did last game again.
It's definitely a comfort pick, it seems like, for Lakeland if they're going to pick it into a relatively even matchup.
Right, especially, first picking, of course you do see the Corky, but, Ferris could decide to just pick some people who could just not care about the Vex and just walk away from her. And Lakeland decides to pick up the Kaisa instead. We see the Senna getting hovered if they do pick. I'm not sure if that'll be ADC or support. Senna is locked in. And the Kazakhs. They left the Lee Sin and the Kazakhs open for Moist, so he had his choice of either one, and he decides to pick the Kazakhs this game. No problem with that.
Definitely a pick he's confident on, but we're going to see the Kayn pick potentially into it.
The Kayn in response. That's a really solid pick. If you're able to get your ult off before Kazakhs can ult, you can just track him, and you can also mitigate a lot of his damage. You can just wait for your team to come and collapse on the Kazakhs and remove the isolation damage, and you can also, with all the mobility he has, just start queuing over walls or start Eing all over the place.
Definitely a very mobile team comp from Lakeland. You got the Kaisa able to follow the Vex dive in along with the Kayn. Right. Probably going to go blue Kayn into this very squishy team.
Right. Not a lot of reliable CC to proc the Kaisa ult on Lakeland's side, though. So, you are relying on her to either land her W or get two more really CC focused.
I was going to say, I want to see a Leona ban from Ferris, and they do ban it.
Right. That is something with the Kaisa you really do want to get out of here. Wouldn't be surprised if we got another support ban, too. Because who's open? Top in support? Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if we got another support ban on their side.
I wonder if they'll take away like a Thresh, a Nautilus. Nautilus Kaisa is a very strong and powerful early lane.
I agree on that.
So we'll see if they take that away. Yone and Urgot getting taken away from Ferris.
All right. If they do decide to ban out the Thresh, really solid pick if you know how to play it. And, going off of what we saw last game, looks like the support probably is really comfortable on the Thresh. So we'll see what Lakeland decides to pick for this. They will have to blind pick one of their lanes, but they do get a counter pick in the other lane that they decide to get. There's probably going to be a support pick here if I were to guess.
No, they're going to blind the Scion.
Okay, then.
Interesting pick. It gives Jones a lot of freedom to kind of choose what he wants to play, but he's got to know that Scion is a threat late game. Even if he's tank, he will absorb a lot of pressure in the team fights.
Right, and once his if you are even able to kill him, once his passive proc, he does start to do a lot of damage.
And we see a straight counter with Trundle.
Trundle just ultimate takes away a lot of the tankiness. If you pick the Trundle here, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a Senna ADC then, since she actually can do damage to the Scion once he decides to ult.
Definitely going to see what the support pick here is. I'm curious what they're going to go with to pair with that Senna,
You really want some engage because Ferris has a devastating lack of engage here, but there aren't really a lot of engage supports that pair well with Senna.
But they do go with the Seraphine.
Okay, so this is going to be a really safe comp. Again, this isn't something you want to team fight with. But, yeah, you're really looking for Lakeland to play into you. But, if you are Lakeland, you pick the Scion, you pick the Kiana, you have no problem just running straight into people, especially with the Vex and Kaisa who can follow from pretty much across the map.
And it does look like it's going to be a Vex support.
It's going to be a Vex. That is a Vex support. Oh, I did not realize
Kiana has been locked in as the final pick for Lakeland.
Okay.
Unless they're doing Kiana top Scion support.
With the cheese strat that the support that the bot lane did do early on, the Hecarim did get to do a Raptor start, so he didn't need a leash. I'm not sure. Well, King can do the same thing. He can start Raptors with his Q. So, if they do want to do the full power Scion Q charge up and then Kaisa burst him down with her Q and her passive, I mean, we could see the Senna fall behind again.
I've been seeing some in solo queue. I've been hearing that Kiana top is pretty strong. So maybe they take that top and push the Scion into the bot lane, get some early pressure, try and cheese them early, have some good engage for the Kaisa late game.
Right, another thing, with once Scion hits his 6 and he can start ulting around the map, he can ult from anywhere, and, until you see him, you have no idea where he's going to be going, especially knowing that the support has a really big roaming playstyle. He could just show up anywhere, and you get hit by that. I mean, at that point, it might just be, the end of your life at that point.
And Ferris is more of a, we're playing off the Corky package, Seraphine ult. Trundle being that frontliner, maybe he's going to try and split push,
Right, like if you're Ferris, you really want to just like outlast the team. You have the Trundle to take the Scion's taking this and just become immortal. Seraphine and Senna Seraphine W, Senna all just going to be keeping everybody alive. Kaz can go invisible. Corki, can just start dashing around all over the place. You just kind of want to just waste the enemy team's time and just run them around the map.
Oh, most definitely. You want Corki, you want to have like, you want to play around his package and you want to like peel for him so he can poke out in these team fights, because Lakeland doesn't have a lot of sustain on their side, and they have some pretty squishy champions that can get poked out by Quirky.
Right, you do see the Senna Seraphine bot lane. That's a lot of sustain. You see a Moonstone coming out from the Seraphine, and Ferris can just outlast everyone. Not to mention Trundle just survives just passively, innately, due to his, I think it's his passive.
Mm-hmm. On that W, he can sustain a lot with the ult, plus stealing all of Scion's stats. He can make quick work. Dolphin with it. If Dolphin gets his E off on Scion, gets some rockets into him. And it is going to be a Kiana mid, Scion top, so we're looking at a Vex support.
Okay, hey, nothing wrong with that still. They decide, hey, we're just going to flex this Vex, and if they do decide to pick a team comp in which is not really super beneficial in the mid lane, the support does know how to play it. That's something, most people wouldn't be expecting traditionally, so they can just stick it in the bottom lane, and we'll see how well that works out.
It definitely does give them a lot of draft versatility if they're able to move those pieces around like that,
Right, I think versatility is the name of the game. You got Kiana able to switch what kind of damage she does. Kane switching his forms. Scion coming back after the dead, and you just flex picks everywhere. So
most definitely. I'm interested to see the general idea of how Lakeland wants to play their team fights out. Because they got the big ults like Kiana, Scion ult for engage and stuff, right? Are they just going to constantly just dive in and see if they win the fight? Because with Ferris's comp, they have a decent time peeling back with Seraphine's movement speed amp and her ult to deny and engage.
Right, Lakeland really does. Lakeland's team comp does have the mentality of we just go forward and dive in, and admittedly they do have like a lot of ways of doing that, but Ferris just has a lot of ways of just saying, hey, I don't want to be here. Senna can at any point just click E, and Kane can't ult on anybody like that. Kha'Zix can go invisible and stuff, and multiple people can just if flashes are up, they can just flash away, and there aren't not everybody is always able to just follow up on that. So
see if Jones will use his pillar to stop Kiana ult.
Right, that is the last thing you want to see if you're playing Kiana. Just waste it all on
Trundle pillar.
Terrain coming up out of nowhere.
I would have liked to see the auction of Dolphin Dade and he swing around Trundle's pillar.
That would have been a highlight clip right there.
Most definitely. Give him the terrain, mid fight, he can get this terrain that he can just circle around.
Right.
But no, definitely a comfort pick for Dade. He's going to, feel good on that Corki. He's got to be careful of Kiana's level 3 spike. Stay alive through that. Keep yourself at a good distance while still farming, and, try and outscale that Kiana, even though Kiana will do okay in the late game fights with her ult. He definitely can have some leverage there.
Right, if we're looking at how he did last week, he played Corki in both of his games. Probably looking for something closer along the lines of Game 1, where it was really just an uneventful lane, and they just kind of farmed it out the entire laning phase, as opposed to Game 2, where it was really volatile. Everybody kept coming mid, and you never really knew what was going to happen. Granted, the Kha'Zix was getting a lot of kills, but the Aurelia was also getting a lot of kills in return too. So
most definitely, I feel like Dolphin needs to push his level 1. Because Kiana can't get on him at level 1. He needs to push, make her trade her HP for some minions, and then put her at low health for that level 3 so he can kill her if she tries to go all in.
Right. If you are first, though, it is also rather important that the Kiana doesn't get a lead. And because, aside from Trundle, pretty much everyone on the team is capable of being one-shot by her if she even gets, 1-0.
Bot lane's going to definitely have to respect the roam timers that Kiana can have, and the fact that Kane can just come from anywhere.
Right, I don't see, on Ferris' side, I don't really see a whole lot that Senna Seraphine can kind of do. You're kind of just going to get bullied and just have to heal it up. Both of them do have heals, and they can heal each other. But, there really isn't a whole lot you can do to win this lane, aside from just hoping that your lane opponents play bad, which isn't a good mentality to have in even solo queue, much less a competitive game.
It's definitely we're just trying to survive the laning phase, push for that late game where we can, heal our carries up,
Right, with the infinite stacking Senna and just, getting as many stacks as you can, mostly just from getting the souls. Do you think this is going to be a fasting Senna and they're going to have Seraphine farming?
We did that a lot, but I'm not sure. I feel like Mans is more comfortable in that farming position. I don't know if Mako is comfortable with that farming position on Seraphine.
Right.
It'd definitely be an interesting look. But I'm not 100% sure. I feel like they're just going to have Senna farm it out, you know, Seraphine do the poking and all that stuff, and then they're just going to kind of try and transition to that mid-late game where Corki and Kha'Zix are going to come online. They can help sustain them through the fights. Corki's going to do a lot of damage with his poke because everybody except for the Scion is very squishy from Lakeland.
Right, you know, it really is a matter of, do you want more stacks or do you want more gold in your pockets? And, you know, if you are Mans, you're probably saying, hey, I want my items. I'm going to get my stacks regardless. So
most definitely. He wants to – I feel like they have to give up the pressure in the lane, which hurts Kha'Zix a bit in that early game. But I feel like top is going to have a perma-shove with Trundle, so he's got to be careful of the ganks from Kayn. You know, Kayn doesn't really want to come top because he'll get red form first. He really wants to, I feel like, prioritize blue form this game because he can one-shot anybody as well as Kiana, and I feel like they just want to blow the fights up before they happen.
Right. You know, if you are Lakeland, you can see that they have no problem either with skirmishes or just flat-out team fights. You know, you have a lot of big ultimates like Scion and the Kiana, but you also have really good ultimates for picks like the Vex, the Kai'Sa, and the Kayn ult. So, you know, you can really just switch it up on the fly. If you fall behind, just say, hey, we're just going to go look for picks. And we have a lot of carries that are amazing at that. If you are ahead, you just say, hey, the Scion, just stand in front of us, and we'll just beat them up from the backline while they're just trying to kill you and just win like that.
Most definitely. And we're getting into game now. It looks like we have an Ignite versus TP in the mid lane matchup, and Kai'Sa has taken Cleanse with Hail of Blades, which means she's going to go for some early trading, you know, try and not get locked down.
Right.
You think we'll see another cheese strat with Vex and Kai'Sa in the bush to try and burst somebody out real quick before the laning phase even starts?
I wouldn't be surprised, but, you know, seeing as how that happened last time, and also Mans is just an overall much safer player than Jones, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not successful with it. You know, not to mention that Leona is a lot better at that lockdown level 1 than Vex is. So, you know, you're probably, you know, more than likely, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get anything.
They spot the ward again. Jones is going for an early aggression in this top bush, seeing if Sion's going to step up and he's going to trade with him. It looks like Jones is going to go for the trade. He's going to pop the bone plating. Looks like there's going to be a fight in the bottom side. Jones is going for it. He's got the lethal tempo proc. That's going to be a potentially dead Sion. Jones is going to flash. He forces the flash. He blows Faust
out. He couldn't get his Q off. That would have been a dead Sion, but still flash for flash in the top lane. That is now a very volatile lane for both junglers. So you're really hoping that you know, regardless of what team you're on, you're hoping that your top laner gets pushed in. That way you have a lot easier time ganking.
He also forced Sion to start W. Sion's not going to have a lot of pressure in that early laning phase.
Yeah, you do not want to do that if you're the Sion. You know, you really want to be able to just maintain your wave and just control the wave how you see fit. Trundle likes to start Q regardless, so he's going to play how he would regardless.
But we do have some early vision from the red side. Lakeland University getting some vision on. They know where Kha'Zix is going to start now, which means that Kayn will have a good time pathing around it.
Right, you know, we do see that Ferris did get a red buff, get a ward on Kayn's red buff, so they're going to see him
Kai'Sa
now.
goes for the steal and misses, meaning she started W. She's not going to have the shove that she normally would have in that lane now.
Oh, man.
So it looks like Ferris should potentially get an early level 2 unless Vex starts pushing the wave before anybody else gets down there. But Vex is just going to get poked, get some Senna, some starting to stack, and it looks like Jones is going to go for a trade here in the top lane. You know, not going to get much out of it because of bone plating.
Bone plating mitigates a lot of that damage, so Sion can say, hey, I can afford to do this. Not to mention, I started W, so I have a lot of extra tankiness level 1 that you're probably not used to.
It looks like both ADCs are getting pretty poked out here.
All right.
It's more favorable for FSU because, you know, they got that healing, that sustain.
You know, in response to that, Kai'Sa did start the longsword in 3 pots, so she does have a bit of extra healing on her side.
And Kha'Zix sees that Kayn went to his top side, so Kha'Zix is going to steal his entire bot side here, potentially.
Ooh, that is going to put Kayn really far behind if he doesn't finish this red buff up immediately.
Oh, it looks like he's going to go to the bot side, meaning that if Ogre gets out here, he can go to his top side for free.
Oh, that could have been a dead Vex potentially, you know.
Ooh, Mako getting some good poke out here on Kai'Sa. She needs to be careful of this proc.
She procs the passive, though, so the Seraphine does get chunked out in response.
Oh, Kha'Zix coming bot side here.
There are all sums up in the bot lane. Kai'Sa blows the flash. She gets out alive. And Vex also blows the flash. That is 2 flashes gone in the bot lane. Wouldn't be. Kayn is down there, though. He is ready to gank if they do look for something more.
The wave's in a good spot for Ferris right now. It's they can freeze that.
They could do that, and there's nothing really Kayn can do that. I mean, Kayn can come and help to break the freeze, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's not really going to accomplish a whole lot. You know, that could still be more beneficial for the Kha'Zix. Does he have jump up? Or he's just going to decide to fight this?
And he's out.
And he's gone.
And Kayn gets chunked out.
Right.
Jones got a big stacked wave, causing a lot of CS missed on the top lane as well because he can just pressure him because of how low Sion was. And Ogre's going to be caught out here against 4 members.
He has to blow his flash, and the Ignite gets the kill. Kiana with the first blood in the mid lane.
That's a scary proposition because she got a blue buff as well, meaning that she can relatively throw out her spells and get that shove and get a nice reset.
Right. Corki was doing a really good job making her waste all of her mana, and now that lead that he was building up, more than likely just looking for something, is just completely gone now.
And we are seeing the farming Senna instead of the fasting one, which is kind of what we expected out of that situation. Lane states are going to be difficult now for Ferris because if Kiana can get a nice reset here, she can just go to another lane real quick and get a gank off.
We did see earlier that the Trundle crashed his wave into the tower, so if he played it right, that wave should be coming back to him now, and Kha'Zix is in the top side, so that could be a top lane gank. But it looks like the wave is just going to be staying in the middle. Senna lands the W. Will we be seeing not a whole lot of damage coming out? Seraphine decides to use a W.
Enough chunk.
Right, you know.
Vex has no pot, so she can't really re-sustain through all that damage, you know. Right. We got a couple souls out as well. It looks like we get an engage from Kiana. Just a short little trade burst.
Okay. Camera didn't want us to see what was going to happen.
Oh, no, it did not. Top lane, I feel like Trundle's just going to keep pushing. He's not really going to play for his jungler to come top. He's just going to kind of build waves and crash them. Make Sion lose as much farm as he can because Trundle can relatively push. Oh, we get a punish here on...
She's ignited. She's going to go down. Mans gets the kill, but not any follow-up in response to that. Hey, 1-0 on Senna is good enough for him.
Jones is going for a long trade. Bone plating going to chunk a lot of his early
Sion
damage.
does not want the fight. He gets beat up, and he's going to have to walk out and more than likely just TP back to lane. If I were Jones, I'd be hard-shoving this wave and force him to TP.
Oh, good gank here.
Oh, no.
Oh, quirky flash and flash out of Kiana.
Oh, no. Did he have a ward? He could have warded and then hit the Raptors and maybe gotten something like that.
Kiana's going to go for an execute here.
Kiana's taking the scenic route.
Gets killed under his tower.
Jones gets killed under tower. You got a little bit greedy there.
And Kiana's just going to execute here.
They decided to not chase. You know, Corki just wanted to farm instead.
He had a big wave crashing under the tower.
Right.
Looks like a little engage here from the Lakeland's bot lane, but they're not going to get much out of it. Kaisa has no mana. She really can't follow up on the Vex's engage.
Right. You know, Vex, you know, seeing as she did die earlier, she came back full health, full mana, and now, you know, she has pots and a pink ward and stuff. But this is a really bad time for Kaisa to be recalling. But she doesn't really have any options.
Ferris can kind of just freeze the wave in their favor if they so choose to, you know.
Right, and Vex can't even step up to get some of the CS for herself because, you know, she's already died once. You don't want to start just running it down. That's especially when your team is getting leads across the map. You don't want to be the one holding them back.
It looks like Ferris isn't going to freeze. They're going to try and re-shove it back in.
Right, you know, yeah, Mans and the Mako haven't been able to recall. They're going to look for something aggressive. There is no Ignite on their side, though.
Mans is just getting a couple souls, you know, getting some trades for her staying in lane.
Right. Kha'Zix is spotted out by the pink ward. Looks like they look to be collapsing on the Kha'Zix.
And Jones is going for a fight here in the top lane against Einstein Sion. Will Jones pop the ult? He pops the ult. Sion pops the ult back. It looks like Jones has lethal tempo proc.
Winning this fight. There's nothing Sion can do. Sion flashes and Jones flashes as well.
Jones flashes in response. He kind of has to, or else he would have got locked up there and probably killed. Good play from Jones there. Mans takes a little trade with Kaisa right when she gets back. That's rough for Kaisa. She's not going to be able to sustain as well. She has little refillables, but that early trade when Senna looks like, Senna's not going to be able to get a reset off because they're going to be able to hard shove the lane, making it difficult.
Right. Kane is also there if they were to look for a dive. I don't believe he's level 6 yet, though, so he is, not the best tower
Flash
dive.
from Vex
is caught out, gets CC'd, and he's gone.
And it looks like Mans and
there
Mako
are
are
4 people in the bot lane.
Huge chunks
blows out the flash.
Kiana ult around the wall, and she kills Mako from across the wall.
Big and Mans hits the cross, well, not exactly the cross map, but the blind all on the Vex. Amazing shot.
He's able to trade one back for that, which is good. Ferris needs to get some trades. They're punching this game. They're fighting back this game, and it's good to see.
Right, you know, they're actually up in gold right now. They're down in kills, but, you know, gold wins games, not kills.
Oh, exactly. Jones is getting chunked out here, greeting for plates. Will he make it out? He will get the pillar off. Sion does not have a flash and does not have ult.
Looks like he's just going to walk out.
Here. Oh, nope.
He does not. Sion decides to just shove the wave. Toronto does not have the TP if he were to recall right now. And Sion has really good wave clear with his Q and his W.
Mid lane's kind of just farming. Dolphin's got a big CS lead in that mid lane. I want to see if he can transition that. Kiana does have the kills, but Dolphin has not given up a solo kill to him yet.
You know, hey, Dolphin saying, hey, I'm doing my job. Team, please help me accomplish my job. And team isn't being too helpful. Seraphine is spotted out on the ward. She doesn't know. And the Vex and the Kiana catch her out.
Unfortunate timing there that she just did not have a sweeper. She does not have a sweeper yet, so she can't really clear that vision yet.
Right. You know, she did just get her sight stoned. You know, this would be an optimal time, seeing as how you are dead to get it Oracle, and she gets it.
And, good come in from the Kazakhs. Can he kill
Kiana
her?
just dashed in. She is no way out.
Big
Vex
shutdown.
is here, but this is a support Vex, not the mid lane Vex, really lacking in damage, so not a whole lot she can do to get the Kazakhs dead.
And if Dolphin can shove this wave and force Vex to take it, Kiana loses even more in the lane pressure here.
Nope, looks like Vex is just going to hold the wave in front of the tower, so it's not entirely
No, she took the entire wave.
Oh, she took it?
She took the whole wave.
Carry Vex support, as far as I'm concerned, I guess.
Your favorite type of supports, right? Those carries.
Right. All supports can carry, you know?
Oh, definitely. Dark Harvest Alistar, yep.
Right.
But most definitely, I think that is rough for the Kiana. I feel like Vex should have held it outside the tower and let Kiana get that.
Right, you know, she is already some of the lowest CS on the team, but Vex decides to go and say, hey, I got all this gold, I'm not going to waste
under
it.
tower, though.
Oh, Mez does not decide to get the kill in retaliation. Kane decides to all under tower. Well, Kazakhs gets a kill, and Kane will get another kill.
Good clapbacks here from FSU.
Amazing. 2 for 1 play. That is worth for them as far as they are concerned.
Kiana's looking down here, though. Kazakhs is kind of in that bush.
They see the Kiana. Kiana does have RN. I believe she has the flash.
But she's spotted on a ward, so she's going to back off. She sees it with her sweeper, so she just knows she has to get out of there.
Right, we see Jones going in for another aggressive trade in the minion wave. Just waiting out the Q, and he starts pelting him down.
He's got the lethal tempo procced up. He's ready to fight.
Right.
He's looking for more. Gets a big Q off. Gets slowed.
He's holding his ult right now. You know, no reason to use it. He's probably waiting for Sion to use his ult to, you know, make sure Sion wants to go in. That way he's not wasting his own time.
Most definitely. I wonder if he's going to try and pillar Sion when he goes in for an ult.
Right. I did not realize this, but Lakeland actually got a dragon. I'm not sure when they did that.
I did not notice that either. Yeah, but Ferris still has a commendable gold lead right now. Jones is getting a lot of plates in that top sign. Sion really cannot do anything in this matchup. He's got a 30 CS.
Right.
lead.
Kane is really abhorrent to ganking against him because he does not want the red form, so he's really trying to gank bot as much as possible.
Looks like Mako's looking for a little bit of a mid lane play here.
Right, you know, she was trying to look for something but kept getting spotted out by wards. But at the end of the day, you know, hey, clearing out the vision is always a benefit.
Dolphin's going to do a little bit of poking. He's not at that potent form of Corki where he's got the 2 items. He's able to chunk people yet. He's really got to scale into that, which he's doing a good job on the CS. He's up 30 CS right now. He's building towards that Manamune. He's got a good scaling factor. His team is doing good. Bot lane is 3-0. Or 3-3 collectively, but 3-0 for the ADC. And a big burst out Kazakhs.
Kazakhs gets the kill. Vex flashes out and does not. Kazakhs has to blow his flash out. Senna blows the ultimate, and Kiana hits the nice 2-man ult.
Big Seraphine ult, though, to deny any further engage after she goes down. She sacrificed her life for her team to get out of there.
You know,
the life of a support. And Jones is looking for an all-in here with his ult.
He goes in. Sion blows his flash, and Jones decides to save his flash for another day. Say, hey, I may or may not kill you right now, but all I got to do is wait for my R to come back up, and I know I can kill you later.
He knows that if he keeps going under tower, Sion will just ult him under tower, and you won't be able to do anything.
Right. We do see in chat the Vex hard pinging the dragon that's coming up in less than a minute. So Kane also just recalled, so that's something that they're probably looking to play around or get. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking for an Ocean Soul as a win con for them.
They're looking for that Drake win con. You know, they got that early dragon that we didn't catch, and they're going to try and transition that, you know.
Right, you know, if you are Lakeland, you probably are hoping for something like, say, the Mountain Soul. That way Kane has more terrain he can eat through. Sion just becomes practically immortal, and everyone else on your team just gets a fast shield that just keeps them alive.
Mako knows that the Vex is coming up here to clear the vision she just put down, so she has to respect that because she doesn't have any follow-up currently.
Right, you know, just by herself, just say, you know, it's just a pink word. I'll get it eventually, or you'll move it. It's just whatever. Not going to die for it. Kazakhs does not have that same mentality, though, and he will be punished for it.
That's going to be the dragon over to Lakeland here. There's not really much they can do without contestation from the Kazakhs, you know, he can't jump in, and there's nobody to really steal once that situation happens.
Best case scenario, you got Corki Rockets, but, you know, against Smite, they're not doing a whole lot.
It's such an unfortunate situation as well. Ooh,
he missed the Smite, and You know, that was Ferris's best opportunity too, but seeing as how they didn't have a pink ward on her, they didn't exactly have good vision as to what was going on.
It's a Hex Tech Dragon.
Okay, you know, not bad, but, you know, there are definitely better souls you'd want. You know, if you're Lakeland, you already have a ton of ways to move around the map, plus not a whole lot of auto attackers on your side. You don't really benefit from the Hex soul a lot.
I definitely think that was an unfortunate Dragon situation as well, because Dade had the package up on the Corki.
That is true.
That would have been a big, powerful tool to keep that situation under control, especially with Sion not being there, the tankiest member of the team.
Right, he decides to hold his TP.
TP has just become unleashed. It just hit 14 minutes, so now we've got to see if he'll move around the map to help his team make some plays, because he's just getting perma-shoved in by the Trundle.
Right, Ferris decides to go for the Rift Herald, and Sion spots them out. Kane is on the way. Kiana stops the recall and decides to come, but it looks like they're going to be too little too late. The Trundle does have the flash. The Sion does not, and the Sion goes down, but the Kane is here.
Big flash pillar from Trundle.
And they are out of there. They get the Herald, they get the kill, and they waste Sion's time. And will they be able to get this tower? Is this first tower? I think it is.
Yes, it will be first tower.
A lot of gold.
Big ult from Vex here.
Stops the Corki W. He does not get out alive. He does not get affected by the Senna ultimate.
Kiana flash as well. They're going to poke Kaisa under tower. She's going to have to get out of there as fast as she can. But Jones and Ogre are pushing in. Oh, good big trade out. Oh, he forces
the Kane ult. And the Kane flash, making Kane use a lot of the stuff he doesn't
TP from Sion down to the bot lane. Kiana's also coming down here as well.
Oh, no. This is not what you want to see. Seraphine is probably going to go down again.
Big ult out of the Kiana there to force the Seraphine to die. Mans does make it out. He is worth the gold right now, so that is not the worst case scenario for Ferris.
Right. You know, if you're Seraphine, you're already 0-4. I mean, at this point, dying isn't really affecting anything. You're just here to place down wards and W your team, make sure they don't die.
Now that TP did result in a kill, and it did result in a forced flash out of Senna and Seraphine.
Yeah. So, yeah, hey, this is closing the gap. They're only down 1K gold now, so...
But it is good to see Ferris still with a lead when they're set down 3 kills. You know, they still have that gold advantage. They need to play around the fact that they're ahead in that gold. Play for that Senna. She's got the Kraken Slayer. She can do a lot of damage right now, and it looks like Kaisa is going for the Crown build, where she goes Manamune into Crown.
Right, you know, and also, if you're looking at Ferris, you know, Lakeland has 10 kills, and 6 of them are on just the Kiana, you know, just... your goal, again, like you were bringing up during champs, like have Trundle use his pillar and just annihilate the Kiana ultimate and hope that, say, the Corki or the Kaza can burst her out. And then at that point, for the most part, it's a one fight. You know, Kane doesn't have his finished item. Vex isn't going to be doing a whole lot of damage. Kaisa's still waiting on her items to get up.
Most definitely. I feel like Corki he's getting there. He's got his boots. He's got his Manamune. It looks like Seraphine's going to go down here, though. Gets bursted out.
Yeah, the Vex gets the kill.
Good stop by Kha'Zix on the here, and it looks like Corki's going to get the kill on
Kha'Zix hands it over to Corki. You know, he really wants that kill. He was 0-1 for the longest, and his laner was just becoming unstoppable. He didn't have nearly enough gold to match this, but with that kill, that definitely does help his situation out.
However, Lakeland does have a good response. They take the mid tower. It looks like Jones is just going to smack this bot tower. He gets it, and now he's going to turn on to the Kane.
Yeah, if Kane decides to leave, he messes up his Q. Kane has to blow his R. You know, you really want to get him away from that wall as much as possible. And he gets the kill. Kiana.
He can keep going here.
Oh, the Vex blew the flash to get over the wall, and the Kaisa arrives with her ultimate.
That's a flash out. Kaisa R. Vex did not R, I don't believe, in that fight.
She did not. She did blow her flash, you know.
That's a big flash cooldown.
If I am Jones in this situation, I do still consider that worth for the most part. You got a tower, and you got the Kane kill. And Kane still doesn't have his form almost 18 minutes in the game. This is really not what you want to see. He doesn't have his form. He doesn't have his tier stacked up. He just bought his first item. Like, you know, he really needs to start catching up really fast. Otherwise, his Kha'Zix is just going to start taking over.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Especially since nobody can really match Jones on the side lane.
Right, you know.
Sion can clear the waves, but he's never going to be able to kill Jones. And Jones will just ignore him and take the towers with his lethal tempo plus his demolish. Like, it's going to be hard, and it looks like I feel like Jones is transitioning to the Hull Breaker. He's going to become even more unkillable in that side lane with the Divine Sunder Hull Breaker combo.
Right, you know, if you do that and you just want to have Jones in the side lane at that point, then you just, if you're Ferris, you want to do a 1-3-1. You don't want a team fight. Jones is the closest thing you have to a front line, and even then, it's not spectacular. So you really don't want to be team fighting like whatsoever. You want to be doing what Kha'Zix is doing right here and trying to catch out picks.
Kayn has his form now. He's got the blue Kayn.
He does. Sion ulted. We see lots of ults. Everybody's coming in. And the Kha'Zix goes down right before the dragon spawns. This is going to be another. This could potentially be another free dragon on Lakeland side. We do see the
Kiana and Kiana are resetting to match Jones, though. This means Corki can get away with some stuff here.
Right. The Sion isn't strong right now. He used his ultimate, and he's just kind of just a meat shield.
Corki looks into the pit right now. He can see that Kayn is very low.
Right. The most fed member of Lakeland isn't there right now, so this actually could be a one fight for Ferris should they decide to go in on this.
Good poke out of Corki here. They have to back off this dragon. Jones has created enough pressure that they have to back off.
Right. Lakeland does have the smite. If you're Ferris, you kind of just want to stall them out until the Kha'Zix can get here, so that way you have your smite.
Lakeland knows they have to give up this Baron.
The dragon.
Yeah. They have to give up this dragon. Because Ferris just has so much pressure with that Corki package. It just really stops it. But it looks like...
Right. The Kiana and the Kiana are back now, so they could look to re-engage this fight. But looks like the bot lane is going to go and bluff that they have the entire team with them, and Lakeland takes the bait.
Big ult out of Kiana here.
Kaisa follows up with her own ult. Kayn is trying to go and uses the Prowler's Claw and ults the Corki. This is going to be a dead Corki.
But Jones gets the inhib. Is going to potentially get the inhib off here because only the support Vex is there to stop him.
Right. There's nothing Vex can do here, especially with the Trundle W just increasing his attack speed to such a degree. He actually is getting damaged quite a bit, though. That Vex could quite well kill her, but she doesn't have R or Flash.
That's going to be a
Kayn
kill
goes down.
Kha'Zix.
Oh, Ferris did get the dragon. Amazing. With presumably not smite because Kayn does not have smite up, but the Kha'Zix does.
I'm wondering if Kayn missmited again and he got punished for this time.
Wow.
But it looks like
they
Lakeland
will
is going to transition to the Baron.
For consolidation. If you notice, Lakeland is also up in gold now. Now that they have twice as many kills as Ferris, they say, hey, your macro can only carry you so much.
Most definitely. But Jones does have that pressure still. He was able to get an inhib off. That's going to delay their Baron push by a decent amount. Kayn doesn't have a lot of HP right now, so it's going to be a bit of a slower Baron take, which gives Ferris time to get on the map, time to shove some lanes out, prevent them from really utilizing that Baron.
Right. You're going to have to keep one person in the top lane, and more than likely that's going to be your
Mako
Sion.
Gets deleted by the Kiana Q combo.
This Kiana has something personal against Seraphine. Does not like her being in the game.
Oh, and it looks like Kha'Zix is going to get bursted, gets ignited, but does not die. Kiana does not have the ult to complete. It looks like
Sion is caught out with no flash. We'll see. Does Lakeland sacrifice the Sion, or do they decide to go and save him? They're doing a rescue mission, saving Private Sion.
They forced the flash out of Senna though. Big ult here from
the two men off from Kiana, and they're both gonna fall.
Kha'Zix is able to take out the Sion on the side. Jones is just beating up that bottom lane tower right now.
They left Jones by himself. Lakeland is going to have to learn one way or another. Now that especially he has the Hullbreaker that you were mentioning earlier, he's just going to be annihilating these. Hullbreaker plus his Q reset that does affect towers plus Demolish. I mean, these towers don't stand a chance.
It really kills all the momentum that Lakeland had off that Baron play.
Right, especially since they killed the best person who actually can deal with all these, the pressure that Sion is getting in the side lane. The Trundle is getting in the side lane, that being Sion. I mean, they're going to have to do something. Vex does see this Trundle waiting in the bush looking for something.
Yep. So, I mean, the only lane that they really have to push for right now from Lakeland is mid lane, but Senna's just going to be able to collect that wave because she's got so much protection around her. She can't really... She's pretty safe relatively right now. I mean, she doesn't have the flash, so she's got to be careful of Kiana's engage. But for the most part, they can just collect that lane, have Jones on a side lane. They got super minions to counter the Baron minions on the top side.
Yeah,
so they're looking relatively good for being down. They're only down 2k gold off that Baron.
Right, lots of ways to farm from a safe distance on Ferris' side. You have the Corki Rockets and his Q. Senna auto attack range is theoretically infinite. As you're seeing right now, Seraphine can just halt a wave in outside of tower range if she decides to. So I mean, aside from this cannon minion that looks like it also has infinite range, there's really nothing that Lakeland can accomplish here because it's just so easy for Ferris to CS from such a safe range.
They are probably going to knock down the top side tier 1 turret, which was most likely going to happen. There's no reason for Ferris to defend that turret.
Right, Sion is by himself against this Trundle. That's a big problem because Trundle can just tower dive him without any fear. Kayn did recall, but it's too little too late for that as well.
And Cyan cannot get out. He's just going to heal off his dead body.
Kane is here, though, and he's really fast. We'll see if Kane can save the day.
Vex is getting punished on the mid side here.
The Glacial will save her.
Kaisa comes in with a huge W damage because of the Nashers and a big ult from Kiana to knock Corki into the wall, and they take her out.
Just erased from the game.
Vex is going to have to take a reset here, but there's no objectives on the map, so they're looking relatively good. They should be able to push in mid here and get this tier 2 tower. There's not much Seraphine can do. She kind of just needs to give it up, because if not, she's going to get poked and probably die in one shot to Kiana or Kaisa's W, because Kaisa's going the AP build.
As I was saying earlier, you had mostly the Senna and the Corki that were using the long-range poke to CS from a safe range against these Baron minions. Now that they're both dead, there's nothing really stopping them. But Lakeland decides to not continue the push and just stop with the tier 2 mid tower.
It looks like the dragon is going to be spawning pretty soon, so we're going to see if Lakeland will take this one. They really need to get this one to position them into a Soul Drake win condition. They're already ahead, so they don't really need the win condition, but it would help them secure the victory more confidently, because it's relatively close in gold for the current state of the game.
Right, you see this Vex has a lot of CS. She decides to take that for herself as opposed to giving it to the Kaisa or the Scion. Vex has almost as much CS as some of her own solo laners on her own team.
We see almost a Flame Horizon in the top lane from Jones, though. He's up almost 100 CS.
That is insane on Jones's part.
Dolphin is also up 30 CS, so there is individual CS leads that are contributing to this gold equalizing. Jones has also taken 5 towers across the map and an inhib.
By himself, really, And especially since this isn't sole point for them yet. This is exactly what you want to see.
The Kaisa ult on and a huge ult out of Seraphine. We'll see if they can pull it up with anything.
They do get the Scion TP though.
Huge.
Trundle is going to TP top lane and decides to just get the inhib that respawned up again. Seraphine is caught out. Can they get the dragon? They cannot. We see that Lakeland is now on sole point. Scion decided to TP to the fight. Trundle decided to TP away from the fight into the top lane.
It's going to force resets across the board for Lakeland, but they were low anyway, so they needed to get off the map.
Right, this is just doing what they were going to want to do anyway. The only difference is in this scenario, Ferris still has her tier 1 tower.
Ferris really can't do much about this situation. They're really kind of just forced into their base because they don't know where Lakeland is, and Lakeland has one Ocean Drake, which is contributing to some regen for them outside of fights.
Right. We see that Scion blew his ult to chase down the Trundle, but Trundle was just in a position where Scion couldn't hit him with his ult unless it was one of the legendary Scion ult bugs.
Most definitely, and it looks like Trundle is really keeping Ferris in this game with how much pressure he's creating. He's causing havoc on this map right now for a team that should be steamrolling with their leads. Right,
the Kiana has 12 and 2. She's pretty much just one-shotting most people on Ferris' side, but it's really not equating to anything because every time they get to kill Ferris' side, they have to recall because Trundle's at their base and he's just destroying towers and stuff.
Between the Divine Sunder, Hullbreaker, he's building a Sterix. He's going to be very tanky in that 1v3, 1v2 situation. It's really hard for them to... They have to commit a lot of resources to take him down.
Right, this is effectively the allow we saw in game
Ogre
1.
Getting caught out here.
Fight. Oh, and Ogre goes down. He tried to help the Trundle.
Mako getting caught down by right now too as well, and he's just going to get W'd.
The
W missed.
Kaisa has to ult if she wants to get the kill instead. I consider that not worth. The Seraphine is 0-10. She's not worth any gold. At that point, don't waste your ult on that.
And they're going to commit to this Baron here while Jones is going for that top lane inhib. He's going to try and push.
Right, and Kha'Zix is dead right now. There's no risk for them. They're going to send the Vex of all people back. Or, no, the Baron stops the Vex's recall. Trundle gets to push a little longer, and Kiana is going to have to be the first one there. Let's see if she can do anything.
He's going to ignore the wave and just go directly to that inhib.
Right, Baron just had just fallen, and, you have the Vex and the Kayn. I mean, at this point, you're not getting out alive. Just say, hey, can I get this inhib before I die? And he does.
He stays alive for a decent amount of time. They still secure the Baron, but it's definitely a lot of pressure now because the super minions are back to stop the Baron minions in the top tower.
Right, if you're Trundle and you see that the entire enemy team is on Baron and you're in the top lane, I mean if you're gonna die anyway, get the inhib for it and just slow down the enemy team's progression. It worked last time. We're gonna hopefully it'll work again this time. Just keep trying to stall out this game. Let this Senna become super strong. Let this Corki get to his 3rd item. He's still working on his 2nd one right now, but.
Oh, most definitely. And I mean, Trundle's on the 3-item spike right now. He's got the Hullbreaker, Sterix, Divine. If anybody tries to match him, he will win that fight in the sideline.
Yeah, there's nobody on Lakeland side that can 1v1 this Trundle.
They need to commit a lot of resources, which can stall this game out for a decent amount of time.
Right. You know, we see his TP will be up in roughly 30 seconds. So, like, if there were any, like, good wards, he could just potentially just backdoor and end the game himself.
Oh, most definitely. But the thing with that is right now Cyan is pushing in those super minions. He's trying to stop the pressure from the top lane. We see an ult from Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa goes in. Qiyana goes in, follows up. There's no one to stop them. Trundle is trying to match the Scion, but he's not able to. The stopwatch on Kai'Sa's behalf keeps her alive.
She's going to go down for Kha'Zix here, but Qiyana and Vex and Kayn will still have the push pressure. It looks
that is a 4-for-1 in favor of Lakeland.
And it looks like they're going to go to try and end the game.
Very well be end game, you know, going to end the game with the Baron super minis. Cyan has to flash the wall, and he just arrives. You know, you really want to see him hit the towers with that because the Cyan all does damage towers, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day. You know, you have
Kiana's
the Kai'Sa,
just
you have
smacking the Nexus right now, and they're going on to Jones to try and pad those KDAs right now.
Right. You know, they got tired of getting bullied by him all game. They want a little bit of revenge, and that is going to be the end of game 2 and the end of the series. Lakeland will take this over Ferris.
2-0. It was a good performance from Lakeland. I liked what I saw from Ferris in the second game. They definitely put up more of a fight than the first game.
Right. You know, Trundle was really doing his best to keep the team in the game. Corky was just doing his best to try to get items. But at the end of the day, I mean, the disparity in the amount of kills and amount of gold they had on their players was just too much. Qiyana just had a personal vendetta out on the Seraphine and just make sure she didn't get to play the game whatsoever. And Senna couldn't really do anything. She never got to the point where she had a ton of damage to start chopping away at the enemy team.
Most definitely. It was a good fought battle in that final one. They really were pushing Lakeland, I felt like, to the limits with that Trundle pick.
Right. Hey, you know, it was an amazing game, amazing to spectate, though. But at the end of the day, all the scoreboard is going to show is that a loss is a loss. So, yeah, devastating defeat from Ferris.
All right. And thank you guys for tuning in to the match today. We appreciate all the people who came out to watch. That was Ferris Esports.
Thank you for tuning in.